Text messages.
And we are live.
Sound
Minds. Let's
What's
go.
going on, my people? Yo, we are here back again another Sunday for your listening and viewing pleasure. You know what I'm saying? And we for the most part, man, one of very important episode that you're gonna have here. We have some guests coming in. They still trickling in a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, this is important for all those whoever had a passion or love for ball, whoever lived in the inner city, you know what I mean? And this is one of these episodes that is way beyond just the topic because it is talking about lives being changed. And the name of the show, this episode, this Sunday, is Coaching Off the Court. So it's not only about coaches who put their passion and everything into the players on the court, it's also about the opportunities that these youth and young are getting because of that. So we are expecting Kenny Anderson as well. He should be on his way. He might be with us shortly. He has some things that he had to do, but he still is trying to grace us with his presence. So we're waiting on that. The first guest we have here is a very well-known, not only coach, man, but just somebody who is well-loved amongst the community because of his thoroughness, you know what I mean? And for the most part, his ruggedness where he came from the Lower East Side. Eddie Lau, round of applause to him. You know what I'm saying, for being on. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, no, definitely. We are waiting on Brian Gardenhire, who is the CEO and founder of LES Express, and we also waiting on Andy Pupa Fontanez, who is the CEO of LES Skills and Drills. You know what I mean? So these are not only coaches, these are not only basketball savants, but this is also about community leaders. So
stay tuned. Gotta stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're about to have a hell of a podcast. And once again, make sure if you get anything out of this podcast, man, hit that subscribe button, share this podcast to your friends and families, and also hit that like button. Hit that like button, smash that like button. It's definitely time on Facebook and YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
They can watch this and like it on 2 channels. You could be Republican, Democrat, take your pick.
You already know. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe, that notification bell so you can get that notification. So when we go live, you know we live and you can hear us say we are live. Sound Minds. Hey, like,
yes, sir.
We also have more news to share before we get into before we get deep into this.
Yes. So what I'm gonna do is, Ed, if you could, we're gonna get into that news in a second. I'm going to bring on the other guests, make sure that they got the links, and for the most part, but Ed, if you could, man, tell us about your background, how you got into ball, and what kind of like the what basketball has meant to you in regards to.
Wait a second. Happy birthday, Trinity! If you're watching this.
Which Trinity?
Your Trinity.
Oh, no. She's on the 24th.
Oh.
So we actually early. Yeah, good looking. Nah. So a moment of confusion real quick.
I'm like you. I used to be late. Now I'm super early.
God, you always got to be random too. just random. Like
now the vibe is right.
Hey, so if you could, brother, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna get the other guests, but if you can, just tell the people, man, about your love for the game, man, where it all started, man, and you know how you kind of came up in the life of ball. You know what I'm saying, and especially your surroundings.
Right. Well, I grew up in Lower East Side and basically played in every sport. You know, growing up, we play everything. You know, from playing tag to basketball, football, 2-hand touch to baseball,
handball.
Yeah, everything. And to fast forward everything, most of my friends play basketball, including my cousin, Melvin C. And I used to be with my cousin a lot, and follow him to every game, and go to his games and watch his practices. And my cousin about 5 years older than me, and basically he was one of the main dudes that I look up to. So by watching him, one day I just got on the court and played, and I loved it. And I met a bunch of kids my age, and and that was our hangout spot. Hanging out, playing ball at a basketball court. That was our getaway.
Most def. You already know, like, it's those times like where you don't what we don't have as adults. You know what I'm saying? Where we don't meet up at the spot no more, and we have an activity, whether it's basketball or throwing the football around or something like that, where you know what I'm saying, where we used to be able to congregate and be us. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we get older, we got life happens and we got kids and all the other responsibilities. But just reminiscing on those times is just, of understanding where you come from is definitely just powerful.
Right. Well, one of the most important things was my cousin's mom, Minerva. They from Smith Projects in Lower East Side. She did she ran all the sport activities for the kids in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And she was a mom for everybody. And, by me being around her, my cousin, I just picked up basketball, and then I was very, very fortunate. I did everything. To be honest, growing up, skateboarding, writing graffiti, stuff that, all kinds of shit everybody did in the neighborhood. To be honest, I didn't know at one point I wanted to just play basketball. I just wanted to keep myself busy, because there was so much stuff going on, and that was really when the era I grew up was really like the crack era, where crack it was introduced like in the 90s, I believe, late 80s, 90s, and it got really crazy. So the drug game was crazy. I seen a lot of my friends' parents and family members on drugs. So my biggest thing was always trying my best to keep myself busy and be in the community centers and just being around my cousin. To be honest with you. Like, my cousin led me to, Jason Williams from Lower East Side, NBA All-Star, to Brian Young, who coached me. And, I was very fortunate to have, Heavy Street Settlement, Pitt Street Boys Club. When they introduced me to Pitt Street Boys Club, Brian Young, and coached me down there, down the hill. So, if it wasn't for basketball or sports in general, I'll probably be dead, or in jail. To be honest with you.
I wanna tap into this first gem that you just dropped. You know what I mean? Where I don't want to, move past it too quickly. You know what I mean? The gem that you just dropped on being able to recognize your environment. You know what I mean? Understand like this environment is going to lead me down this path, and that's the way that I don't want to go. So let me focus. Let me keep myself busy. That's a conscious decision as a young man. You made that choice, and that's literally a gem for the youth out there. Like, because if you really understand that you can make that choice at a young age, be conscious of that at a young age, and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go a different route and make that choice to go a different route. So I definitely want to just home in on that bomb that you dropped.
Yeah, definitely.
We also got our next guest also in here.
Let's go, fellas.
Yes, sir.
Big G. What up, brother?
What's good, King? George, what's good? Family.
Ain't nothing, King. So we for the most part, this is Brian Gardenhire. As I told you, we do have the guests trickling in. Hopefully we get Pupa soon, as well as Kenny Anderson. So Brian Gardenhire is also a coach and community leader who, for the most part, has definitely been enthralled in basketball for so many years. And as we all know, basketball has always been kind of like the language of the inner city youth. You know what I mean? Like, even if you ain't play it, even if you wasn't nice in ball, you definitely had a basketball team because everybody was talking about it at that time. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great point that Rod, that you brought up in regards to what Eddie is saying, in regards to understanding your surroundings and understanding where you're coming from. So Brian, if you could, I know, you just coming in, but if you can you tell us about your upbringing in ball and how you kind of got into ball and how it has affected you throughout life?
Not for sure. I mean, and definitely just honored to be on here with a mentor and a big brother, us Eddie Lau, was to me big influence on my basketball career. So it's a privilege to be on the same platform as him. As I tell him daily, man, how much I appreciate him. But basketball, man, definitely was huge in my culture. As it gave me opportunity. I think what the biggest thing with the orange basketball is that it can take you places very far if you allow it to, and you just have to make sure you appreciate it. And just being able to understand the ins and outs of the games, and just the network. Basketball is a huge networking thing. I think for the most part, people that play ball, man, you network with people that you have long lasting and life relationships with, just because of a basketball. You know what I mean? And just growing up in the LES, on a culture standpoint, basketball, I was able to go to different projects just because I played basketball. Like, you know what I mean? Like in LES, being
Yeah.
from Smith, you couldn't go to Alphabet City if you ain't play basketball. If I didn't have family that played basketball, you was gonna be in beef. You know what I'm saying? So from a culture standpoint, it kind of knitted a lot of things together from a violent standpoint, and just also being able to take you away from a lot of different things as far as trouble. You know what I'm saying? As far as being in gangs, getting caught up in a lot of different things. That those are some of the things very small that the game of basketball. So that's those are just some of the different things, briefly, that the culture of basketball. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You good? You
Oh,
muted
it,
yourself.
it, it went out. You muted yourself.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
you good.
Yeah, I gotta put my phone on do not disturb. I think you getting
Yeah,
calls.
you getting phone calls.
But yeah, but nah, man. But yeah, but I think just with basketball, and not to take too much time, because I know y'all want to get into a bunch of things, but having people like Eddie Lau, having coaches, the mentorship part, man. And a lot of dudes now, and Eddie will get into it, but they're not in the business of basketball for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? When you become a coach, or you become a trainer, or whatever, any type of part of basketball, the biggest thing is just mentoring kids, whether it's men or young women, having them and being able to teach them the rights and wrongs, and just having guys like Eddie Lau, Ronnie Johnson, Mel C, coaches like that, things that they taught me from 14 years old. I'm still living by those things as an adult now, and as a father, and as a husband. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to just have those
Yeah, that's deep, man. And I think for the most part too, man, I think anytime you play sports, you know what I'm saying? Like I know with me, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, one of the things that you learn is kind of like that team effort and that being enthralled in that thought of you build as a team. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who has played sports and has seen the individual cadence of it or the individual benefits of it usually does not understand what it means to team build and to build the foundation together. You know what I'm saying? I think you two brothers are talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of see your movements now as coaches, as community leaders, as trainers. For what it's worth, BG, for you to take what you've learned since you was young and instill that and work with NBA players such as Isaiah Whitehead, such as, get people, get somebody, a young man who was drafted into the Minnesota Timberwolves, just this current draft class. You know what I'm saying? And then seeing all the work that you putting in, and then Eddie Lau, seeing you always rubbing elbows with NBA players and stars, and not only that, but take a school like Seward Park High School or Murray Burcham High School and turn the program around where now it's kind of like a respected school. So where it wasn't before, because, you know, for whatever the reason, now there is a certain type of class that you gentlemen bring to the table for those that you're working with, for the youth that you're working with. So if you can you speak upon the importance of how, you know, for the most part, how team sports and proper coaching on and off the courts is important to you and your livelihood, and not only that, but who you are as a person now today?
Brian, you want to go first?
You can go ahead, Ed.
All right. Well, I mean, first of all, it's very important, you know, as a team sport, it's all life skills. You know what I'm saying? You can't be late. You got to play together. You got to learn how to find a way to get along with each other. You know, you got to work hard. You know, all that stuff is all real life skills. And, you know, like I said, if it wasn't for basketball, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today, or, you know, just be successful. Because basketball, every job I got in life, real life, is through basketball. Is through a connection with somebody that coached me, or somebody that I used to play against, something related to basketball. You know what I'm saying? Every job I got, even from a DOE job right now I'm working, I got to do a basketball coach. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's very important that, I can think of myself as a mentor, coach, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? To give back and help the people that are younger than me, even help the guys who are trying to be mentors now. You know, it's a different era. My era, like I said, you know, in the late 80s and the 90s, my older brothers and my older cousin, Mel, and guys like Jason Williams and Brian Young, those guys actually, you know what I'm saying, took me and a lot of young kids under the wing and told me the truth. You know what I'm saying? When I was messing up, yo, excuse my language, you fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, I see a lot of mentors and not disrespecting them. They don't want to tell them the truth. They want to be cool with them.
That's facts.
You know, they want to have their pants sagging just like them. You know what I'm saying? That shit wouldn't happen when I was growing up. They won't let me hang out with certain people. I didn't get that when I was young. They didn't let me hang out with certain people that I consider my friends. But I guess at the time they wasn't doing the right thing. So I used to go hang out with the older guys, even though they were drinking in the park or doing what they gotta do. But at least they watched me. You know what I'm saying? I might stay at 3, 4 in the morning with them, but they always had their eyes on me. Took care of me. Yep, broke night. You know, there was nights I couldn't get into my crib. I just had to stay at Jason's house. Or you know what I'm saying? So you know that it's a whole different generation. I try my best, you know, to give back and give the right information to even mentors to help these other young kids coming up. You can't always tell them that they right, because they're not right. They're not right. And you know they're not right. You know what I'm saying? The young kids are smoking. You can't go there and go smoke a blunt with them. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. It's just being real. Just be real. Even if I did it, if I do, I don't. I'm not going to smoke with a young kid. You know what I'm saying? You're sending a bad message. If you're drinking, you're not going to be in a park, a grown man drinking, and all the young kids see you drinking. It's just not the way, for me, my opinion, that's not the right way to, be a mentor. Showing them it's okay. You know what I mean? There's a place and time for to do that kind of stuff. You feel me?
A thousand.
You know,
because it's about being able to. I was actually explaining this with an NPR interview recently. I said, you know, when somebody like Kendrick Lamar is criticizing ghostwriters, they saying at this high level as a mentor, which is what you're talking about. It's not for all rappers. You can use ghostwriter with it, but if you want to be considered a mentor and someone we look up to, we're not just saying can you stand up to critique, but are you able to critique the next generation? Because if you haven't done it yourself, how can you critique with love? Because what I'm hearing you say, correct me if I'm wrong, is you could give that verbal smack. You could give that shake up like, yo, I love you. You know I love you. watch your behavior. Like I'm checking, just like we check our brothers. You know what I'm saying? You
All day.
can't check somebody if you don't love them like that. So
Right.
it's like it's both of those things together, right?
I'm old school, man. I'm tough love, and Brian would tell you that because you know people throw darts at me all the time for whatever the reason is. I don't really care, but like a lot of older guys just tell me, when I stop getting on your ass, that means I don't give a fuck about you. I never understood that when I was young until I got older. Man, it takes a lot of energy for me to get on you. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And it's just, you know, it's sad.
Gems. You've just been hit with the gem.
Yeah, it's sad that it's sad that I really feel like Low East Side. I love Low East Side to death, but I don't think we could ever unite together to be one of the top boroughs, like Brooklyn, like Harlem. They always stick together. They always stick together. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see them hating on each other as much. You know, when you got somebody successful from Low East Side, it seems like somebody's going to hate on them. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to badmouth them, whether it's a rapper.
I know what that's like too.
You know what I'm saying? An NBA All-Star like Jason Williams. You know, we have many celebrities in Low East Side, and I'm not even talking about just celebrities. I'm talking about like people that represent Low East Side around the world. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't think we showed them so much love. You know what I mean? It's always hating on, fuck him. I don't get that. I really don't. I was never like that. If you was better than me.
See, that's what you're saying. That I feel like that's and I want to get Brian too. I want to get your perspective on it, but I feel like that goes into what you're saying, Eddie, where it's like they didn't learn love. They didn't learn tough love. In other words, they learned, oh, you either hate somebody or you love them and you lie, you just give them ice cream and sprinkles, or they hate you and they a bad, mean, scary person. They never learned like somebody that love you gonna be like, yo, I want to mess around, whatever we doing too. But if you don't get your homework done, we will get kicked out of school. You know what I'm saying? Like those things go together, right? And if they wasn't being taught that, it makes sense that now a lot of people is, you know, either so hateful or so loveful, and then they being hateful to the person they loved yesterday because that person did one thing they didn't like, and it's just unrealistic levels of not checking each other that you love.
100% correct. And you know what I noticed a lot is that because me and Brian talk a lot, you know, through text or phone, because you know Brian's my dude, and I know when Brian was young, you know, and his father, you know, there's a lot of instead of getting to know the person, they hate you, and then they tell the next person, yo, don't fuck with him. But like, you don't even have a reason to not like that person or judge him for your own sake, right? So that's the part that I never really understand. Like I've always been, for me, and I'm not to be funny, I like everybody, every color. Shit, I think there's a lot of Asians as assholes. I'm gonna be real with you. So you know, we grew up in a melting pot in Low East Side. There is no really one race. We all together. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, and that's why for the most part too, I think this episode is very important too, and hopefully, you know, Pupa comes through, and hopefully Kenny A does make it. You know, but I think it's dope that we kind of like the reason why this kind of came up was because I felt like the empowerment that the three of you as Low East Siders, as coaches, as mentors, and then Kenny A coming from New York, left Rack City. I think that's powerful to see for men, right? Of not only the dopeness about it is all of y'all coaches, trainers, and so on and so forth. 4 men of different races, different age brackets who are helping other youth and other young grow better mentally. You know what I'm saying? So, Brian, if you could talk about that, BG, talk about like what you're like in the sense that going back to the question, how do you feel like team sports and proper coaching on and off the court has helped you to become the person you are today?
Team sports and coaching helped me tremendously, you know, because it gave me pretty much a guideline to success. You know, and I think that's the key with anything. Just having certain things that you can go to when you falling short, or when things aren't you know going as planned. You can go back to the drawing board and have those goals and those strategies to be able to be successful. And what happens with Eddie said, with coaching, a lot of times, it's not always what you want to. We always say we're gonna give you your salt and then we're gonna give you your sugar. You know what I mean? So sometimes we're gonna praise you when you do the great things, but you're gonna get a lot more salt because it's about building character and it's about building integrity and about kind of canceling out the pride. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times as young men, young women, we sometimes are too prideful. You know, so when you play a sport, it kind of breaks your pride. So your coach is the person that's gonna break your pride, and we always talk about breaking somebody down to build them back up. You know what I mean? Because when you at your lowest point, that's when you're gonna go back to the things that made you successful, and that's the key thing about coaching, man. And I think those are some of the things that allow a lot of people that you see even after basketball for them to be successful in all of the adventures that they do. A lot of times as basketball players, they have a second kind of life or a second version of themselves where you see them in different businesses and different things, but they're still utilizing those basketball tools and those things that they were taught from the practices, from the coach making them run, from Ed making me do a drill over and over and over again to perfect it. Those things kind of make you who you are, and it makes you stronger. You know what I'm saying? So in a nutshell, that's kind of what coaching and those fundamental things did to help me be successful.
Yeah, that's dope, man. And I think so I want to make this announcement, man, and
Hold on,
BG.
I gotta drop a bomb on that real quick
Yeah.
because that
A lot of
reflection,
bombs.
that reflection. I mean, just the youth. Like, think about the successful youth that y'all help come up, or youth that's coming up now. Like, they need to hear that. They need to
Right.
hear that. They really need to hear that. So I definitely had to drop a bomb on that, man, because that's
And
gonna
even
definitely.
just like, and not to even cut you off, but even just like with Eddie Lau, like I remember Eddie Lau taking me up to Fordham University as a 16-year-old kid, for Fordham camp. You know what I mean? Like he
I was
took me
about
to
to
a
say
basketball.
different
He took
environment.
he took me to I mean, in Fordham, if you know the history of Fordham, Fordham is a law school. You know what I mean? Fordham is one of the top education schools in the country. You know what I mean? And Eddie took not only myself but a bunch of kids to that camp. And do you think we paid $1? We paid $3.99. You know what I'm saying? And it was like that was an experience that I always remember. And we didn't go on a van. We took the train up there. We ate pizza together. As a team. Ed made sure we do everything together. And I met somebody who, rest in peace, big shout out to Eric Fogel, who was one of Ed's mentors. But
Yep.
I met somebody who changed my life at that camp. You know what I mean? And I think that those are some of the things that basketball do for you, man. And just is like you get so many memories and you connect on so many different levels with people and different cultures and different places that is like is so life changing. You know what
Salute
I
to the
mean?
mentors taking the youth to different environments too, because
Yeah,
that also ties in. I feel like once you go to other places and
you
you
see
see
different.
where you're from being referred to, that also help. That's not something anyone could tell you. It's just like you got to experience that and then come back and be like, oh, we to the rest of the world, we are looked at as the same thing. You
Right,
know what I mean? You don't get that until you leave out sometimes.
Right. But
100%.
you know what's so crazy when Brian said that story? At that point, I wasn't even looking at myself as a mentor.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how many years I'm older than Brian, but um, I just looked at it
you should
like
be good.
I had a hookup. I want to get my young dudes that could ball like BG could ball. Let's go to camp. Let's do your thing. You from Lower East Side, go bust their ass. You know what I'm saying? Go there and catch wreck. Let's lead the block and let's go another borough and represent. And that's what basketball been able to do for me, going from state to state to other countries, and it's not just Lower East Side. See, but what happened is that the older guys took me like that. They showed me around. I want to play for Riverside Church. They want to pay for my tuition. You know what I'm saying? I want to be close to guys like Rayford Austin, Malou, who was on my team since we was 12 years old, from Queens. One of my best friends. You know what I'm saying? You know, but it always at that time when Brian was going to camp, I wasn't trying to be a mentor. I was just like, yo, let's go. I was doing my thing, and there was an opportunity for me to bring kids up. Let's go. I'm gonna take care of my kids first, my guys first. You know what I'm saying?
You had the mentorship and the drive within you already. So you know claim that
100%
that drive. It's the drive, you know, that push, because you being able to push them help you push yourself to be one of the greatest mentors now.
See, I wonder about that right now, because like speaking of the time when y'all went through this, right?
Right.
Crack capsules everywhere, certain types of violence and everything. The good thing was we were used to it because you don't know any different. So it's not like you were suburban coming in and being scared. But the bad thing is it was a little depressing as well sometimes. So like now I think about this generation going through, there's certain cats getting normalized to seeing everybody with masks, not being able to be close. So we'll break this up into questions. But my first question, and then like got question, and then we'll come to the second part of it. But the first question is, now for these kids, they growing up, like some of them had Trump as their first president. Some of them just seen people with masks. They seen programs shut down. You feel what I'm saying? Where whether it was in the school or outside, we always had a way to go to the ball court. You know what I mean? For me, I'll be freestyling, rapping. I'll be trying to get in the ball. You know what I mean? Whether it was do these things where you interact with other people in your community. How important now is it for mentors to take people distracted us from the crack? How important is it now to distract these youth from like, oh, you can still interact with people if you're in a safe way, so that they don't grow up now like, you feel what I'm saying? Like just caught up. And shout out to Alan from Rutgers.
You know, I think most importantly, you know, if you have guys like that's still around that try to help, like Brian, BG, and guys who are trying to help kids positively and tell them the right thing, you know what I'm saying, is giving them a hope. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's as bad as when we grew up. This is my opinion. That this pandemic is a struggle, yes, but we went through a lot when I grew up. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying my era is better than your era and all that. You know, like even when back in the day.
That's always how we gonna come off though. Every era come off like that.
Like he was growing up, you know.
I walked 30 miles on the subway tracks when it stopped running. You know,
come on, man. Listen, I didn't grow up in the projects, but I was in the projects, so I know you had to go down the pissy, you know, elevators and go down one escalator. Somebody shooting crack, and, you know, lighting up the pipe. And the other elevator, somebody shooting something up. You always got to be alert. You know what I'm saying? So they can't never tell us this generation is better and more alert than our generation. You know what I'm saying? I was taking a train going away to Harlem to practice at 12 years old. To this day, I know how to still get to certain places on that train.
He did that with no phone.
With no phone. That's right. Or call your man out the window. Yo, come downstairs.
You might have a two-way at best. you might know the code 357. You know what I mean? You might know certain numbers to spell words.
Two-way. See, I tell you that's why I know I'm old, and I ain't gonna shout out light skin's age. Same age, but it's like you on a house phone, the rotary phone, and you hope your mother's not on the other line hearing your shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, somebody, hold on one second. Somebody's on the phone. Or collect calls, and you don't have the money, and you to collect calls, but yo, come downstairs, hurry up. See?
That's real though.
Okay, so that being said.
Hold on, Cap. Before we get into that, one second. So I got to make this announcement. And BG, because I know you're driving, I definitely don't want to, you know, but so I want to speak about our sponsor for this episode. This current episode is being sponsored by 5-4 Press. It's more than cards, it's a moment. So it's about capturing the moment. Get your team their very own personalized packs of cards to trade amongst each other or just to save memories of the moments. 54 Press designs, prints, and offers services on team branding and uniform design. Go to www.fivefourpress.com. So that's 54 Press. So the reason why I bring this up is very important.
Yo, blow that horn.
Yeah,
we need a sound effect on this.
The reason why I bring this up is, and for the most part, when we sitting here talking about opportunities, you know what I'm saying? When we sitting, I know when I was coached by Frank Morales. I was, trained by Bob Jones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Howard. You know what I mean? And that was in Rutgers. And then not only that, but whenever I played ball, when I was playing for 56 and so on and so forth, and playing for the Spelman tournament and all that. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you straight off the bat.
Shout out to Rashid.
Shout out to Rashid. Definitely so. Talking about all these teams, man, and for the most part, man, what 54 Press is doing is taking the opportunity of young ballers, young players, and turning taking basketball cards and capturing the moment of who these young players are. So they might play for LES Express. They might play for LES Skills and Drills. They might play for Mary Burcham High School, Sewell Park High School. So this 54 Press, what they're doing is innovating the game right now, where when we used to look at basketball cards of such basketball players, NBA players like Rasheed Wallace, Kenny Anderson, Derek Coleman, Jason Williams, but a young player from the Lower East Side or from the Bronx or Brooklyn or Queens, they never had their own card. So what 54 Press is doing is innovating the game and making it possible for basketball teams and young players and ballers to actually have their actual card made up. And this is a moment that they capture. So now there's value in being a young player who's playing for any tournament and any basketball team. So anybody who is interested, I would definitely go to www.54press.com. Try to get your basketball team, get the cards done. If you want to order different cards, and then now, if I have a light skin card for playing point guard, and BG has a Smith card because he's BG, LES Express, but he's from Smith. Now we could trade off cards, and we could now become itemized, captured moments that are pressed between different people. So BG, if you could, man, could you shed some light on this? Because from what I understand, you also part of this as well, young brother.
What if? Wait! Oh my God!
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm okay, brother. But
definitely
I'm super excited to talk about it. This is actually the first time, on record we talking about the company and what we're trying to do to the young athletes. I mean, obviously we all, whether it was baseball, football, basketball, we grew up on cards. You know what I mean? Whether it was Topps, whether it was Fleet, whether it was any type of brand of cards. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to create lifelong collectibles for the athlete. You know what I'm saying? Whether you was good, whether you was nice, this is something that you can have for a lifetime and something that is gonna make you feel special. And then going to the business part of it, and Ed could talk about that as well, but making money, not making money, but creating brands now as young. Like now you have these young kids that are brands, talking about the City of God, talking about all of these different things where, soon we don't know how fast and how quick, but you're going to be able to make money for your likenesses and images as an athlete. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so what we trying to do was we was trying to erase, and there's no disrespect to the trophies, but everybody hate them big old trophies in your crib. You know what I'm saying? They get rusty. They start. Some of them is dope. Some of them, some of them is crooked. But these.
But this next level though, right?
This is next level now.
There we go. Talk that talk, man. This next level.
Right. So now you can have this basketball card, which is gonna give you so much memorabilia of what you did and what transpired in either the tournament or whatever aspect you had in your on your team.
Oh man, BG. Now imagine if y'all also turn these into NFTs.
All right, which I was going to talk about as well.
Big thing on the block, Now some value is being, some real value, asset value is being created behind their brilliance, their talents,
Right.
Right.
their
And not only
So
legacy.
think
that,
about so think about if Zion Williamson had a high school basketball card.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And how much, how much worth and how much value not only that would have meant to him financially, but just to have that. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that we're doing. We really want to just make sure we create this not only just for the superior athlete, but just for the regular athlete as well, man. Because as Ed can tell you, there's levels to basketball. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not gonna be Division 1. Everybody not gonna make the NBA. But you playing the game, you're just as valuable and just as important to that person who might have took those steps to go to a higher level. And then even if you have a birthday party or if you have a Sweet 16 or if you have anything, you know what I'm saying? Now you can have your own custom cards that is dope. You know what I'm saying? That we're gonna have a photographer come through, shoot you, give you those ill specs, those ill logistics and photos. And now, this is something that again is a lifelong experience and memorabilia that you're gonna have. You know what I'm saying? So, it's fresh, it's new. Hopefully, we get a lot of people that could get and support us. You know what I'm saying? But we're doing this for everybody. And hopefully it takes off, man, and a blessing.
it's
And
definitely a
I gotta
great
say,
idea, man. It's a great idea, and everybody in the comments love it. You know what I
right,
mean?
right. And I gotta also say, not for nothing, man, but not to cut your wisdom, bro. But so when BG is talking about here's the gem for
Medina.
everybody.
Yes,
Yeah, so we is Martin Medina, who's Marty Marr, who's actually an alumni of one of our guests from this show. And when I tell you straight
True
off the back,
constellation. Shout out
I'm gonna
Marty
tell you
Marr.
straight off the back that when you see these 5-4 press cards, go to the website. You're gonna definitely fall in love with them, but it doesn't stop there. Me and Marty Moore are already talking about, because it's an idea that I had back in the '90s, late '90s, about having hip hop cards. So
yeah.
this right here is going to go to another level. And then when my brother Ross talking about NFTs, that's on a whole different level. So with all that being said, if y'all love this idea, trust when I tell you, too many times we don't have. Right now we see NBA players, in the A right now trading off jerseys, and that's dope. You know what I mean? They
You
got
heard
to
it
that
here
point.
first. You
You're
heard
right.
it here first.
So
Drop bombs on that.
breaking news. So this is something that now you're not trading on jerseys, because truth of the matter is you could have dropped 45 on somebody in a street tournament. They drop 55 on you. Y'all go up to each other off of respect and love, trade off cards. Now y'all got each other's cards, and now there's a value put to that card. But again, this is just the beginning of greatness. So shout out to Marty Marr, man, who honestly speaking, when I speak about Marty Marr, I'm talking about Why Not Care. I'm talking about
Growth and goals.
growth and goals. I'm talking about LES
Love,
community leadership. And I'm also now
love.
talking about 5-4 press, where now you're
Salute.
capturing moments and you're doing a whole bunch more than anybody could ever say that we had back in the day. Because all them trophies, I had those. And they right now, dying metal that's just dusted right now in my basement. You know what I'm saying? So with a card though, you keep that with you.
Plastic. What you talking about?
Yeah, mine's
Same beautiful concept with a new futuristic way to keep our value.
Right,
A lot
right.
of times people do the like Eddie was saying, the divisions in racism, we was for sometimes given trophies to keep us from gaining value. Well, we saying, yeah, we like the trope, we like the idea, but let's have that idea actually mean something to people now, and let's let it grow too. So, like you mentoring people, these things grow more valuable as time goes by. So you learn it. It's not gonna get dusty. You feel me? Like when people saying, it's not gonna get dusty. It's gonna grow value, but you have to do your due diligence to raise your brand and respect other people's brand. You know what I mean? So it's like it's what it always should have been. It's happening now.
Appreciate y'all, man, for the plug, man. For sure.
Nah, come on, brother. And anybody who, I mean, for the most part, it was only right. My brother sponsored this, so he definitely sponsored this episode. And for the most part, man, anybody else who's interested in sponsoring Sound Minds or wants to plug, anything that you got going on, let us know. Reach out to me, reach out to Sound Minds. We'll make that happen. But I mean, for the most part, with something like this, and I know, Eddie, you have been coaching, like you have been taking talent and skills to another level. And I can only imagine, brother, that Mary Bertram, Sewell Parker, whoever it is, just having those basketball cards as you are part of the team. Now it's not only talking about, yo, we roll together, we got the same jerseys. Yo, I got my own basketball card. You know what I mean? So if y'all could, please speak
I
on
mean,
what
just
that
look,
means.
whoever you,
Eddie was nice too, man. I don't know if y'all know he being modest, man.
Eddie was a problem.
Eddie was nice.
Eddie was,
so
and Eddie,
think
Eddie
about
talking
that
about
history. I'm thinking about.
Eddie was nice. Let's
Eddie
I'm
was,
thinking
and
about
not only
that
that,
history that y'all telling me, right? I'm thinking about the value in the history that you're telling me about Eddie, right? The value in that history of just saying, like, all right, he can even get put on a basketball card right now, and
Yes.
it will hold its value because of the
Yes.
history behind your legacy,
And these
behind your
things now
name,
can link to
his
the
name.
internet.
Yeah.
behind
Like
who
cards
you've
back
helped.
in the day, it was just a card, but now it's like it can link to the story, and people can say they legendary stories of Eddie. Yo, he twisted my ankle. You know what I'm saying? And like you can have people commenting, like you don't
word.
know what can happen now with the blockchain. So
And not only that, but for the most part, man, Eddie definitely at the time, who's at that? Eddie at the time, man. Truth be told, man, while you on here, brother, I can't tell you how many ankles, and you got me by a couple of years, man. I'm 42 now, just hits 42. You got me by a couple of years, and I can't tell you how many times I done seen you put a couple of people on their asses and then just lay them smooth or just backed up with that jump shot, man. So I already tell you straight off the bat, I could only see if, and then when you mentioned graffiti, brother, you being very humble because everybody knew what Eddie wrote. You know what I mean? Everybody knew the resume that Eddie brought. So with that being said, man, I could only imagine having a Eddie Lau basketball card. You know what I mean? One picture, the red diamond picture with you crossing somebody over, or the blue amethyst picture with you with a jump shot. You know what I'm saying? So now this right here, this 5'4" press is taking it to a whole different level where you can capture those images. You know what I mean? I already seen BG done cracked a couple people. Go ahead, brother, talk on it.
I actually like that for the kids, man, because memories is everything. You know, growing up, we big on memories, but I never really took any pictures. You know, the quick Polaroid pictures or whatever it is. You know, there was no time when we take videos and anything. You know, I'm glad sometimes we didn't take videos or pictures because, you know what I mean, we'll be in trouble right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit, you know. But on another note, you know, I think that for this generation, you know, I think it's great, you know, to have memories because you look back, time flies, man. And you look back 10, 15 years from now, you like, yo, look how skinny I was. You know, look at me. Like I was born, I did this, I did that. Instead of me telling my story as a young guy, you see it on a card. Like my man Ka said. You know what I'm saying? I think that's big. It's something different. Like you guys, like BG said, we grew up on Tops and Fleets and even Casbah Kids cards, whatever it is. We did everything. The little piece of gum, the bullshit hard gum on a pack. You know what I'm saying? That was our childhood.
Bazooka.
No, the pack of gum that came in the Tops or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever cards we buy.
they came in the cards.
In the card.
Yeah, they can, you know what's ugly? It's crazy that those pieces of gum
and your card.
Big bubble.
Those pieces of gum, you can literally cut somebody's face with them joints. They were so hard. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you talking about we're in a pandemic right now. Imagine back then when you talking about all types of cleanliness, we got a piece of gum that's chilling with a whole bunch of dusty cards. So you're not gonna get the gum, but you're gonna get the memories.
Come on, man.
5'4" plus.
When you want to go there, how about you dropping your piece, your slice of pizza or food on a candy bar on the floor, and it's like I don't know, it's 5 second, whatever rule, 2 second, and you have to pick it up real quick and eat it. I was just telling my son and his friends all these stories. They're like, man, you guys are crazy.
Imagine a 5 second rule in a pandemic. Yo, it's funny because I had breakfast with a brother from that era this morning, and he did something like that. We was in a restaurant. He dropped his knife, and he go to pick it up. We in the middle of this. I'm like, bro, what you doing? We don't do that now. Leave the knife on the floor, bro.
Nah, it's crazy, and it's important. Different times, and it's important. Not always, Ed. I always commend Ed because we need we need coaches still, you know, around that have that tutelage and have that knowledge to be able to pass it along. You know what I'm saying? And it's no disrespect. Me and Ed always talk about this for the young coaches that want to mentor and that. But when you've
All right,
been
my
through and go
brother.
through all of those different
There you
things,
go.
man, different kind of outlook on life. Yeah, can you hear me?
Right.
Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
Yeah.
we
Now we
heard
hear you. Yeah, you
we
broke
heard
up a
some
little bit.
ladies fighting over
My
the
bad, y'all.
cars
I
in the
apologize.
background. It
I'm in a
sound
car.
like you
I'm in a
got like
car, so
I heard someone like, yo, I want Brian's collector's car, and she was
yeah,
like,
y'all
nah,
stupid.
yo,
Nah, my
that's
fault.
my
I apologize,
car.
car,
Like
but I know I'm
it's
going in and
going
out.
crazy already.
I
We
know
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
heard
going in
you.
and
nah.
out. But
Yeah,
nah,
yeah, yeah. Nah,
it's
but
just
we got it though. Yeah. I mean your message though, Brian. The truth of the matter is, man, life would be different without the coaches we had. And I think that mentorship is very important. So when Eddie was talking about, you know, the smoking and the drinking with our youth, and you're supposed to be looked at, man. And I tell you straight off the back, me especially, years of expertise that I've had over the years working with the youth. Like I've always looked at people that work with the youth on a higher, different level than what they looked at themselves. You
Right.
know what I mean? So, and a lot of times you see these people getting caught up or doing something or talking about, you know, especially the male figures. Like when the male figure is sitting there as a mentor, and you sitting there having, you know, having sex with a young lady because of her, like, you know, those are things, man, me straight off the back. And I'll tell you this live on the podcast. Anybody doing that need to get their throat slit. That's just the way I feel. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, when y'all talking about what y'all doing, what y'all been doing, the love and the passion that you put into the ball players, man, this is needed. This is needed for our youth because a lot of our youth are lost. I can't tell you how many times Rutgers done saved my life because I was in some beef or something was happening, but I had a tournament game or I knew like I was going to go see Howard Long, rest his soul, man, Bob Jones, rest his soul, you know, and right now on the chat, we got MVP, we got Marty Moore, we got Alan Leung. These are people that we all play ball with, man, and build through sports, whether it be baseball, basketball, and this is kind of like, you know, the Spelman, those tournaments, man. When we used to go over there, troop as a team, shout out to Frank Morales, my coach, like, you know what I mean, from St. Teresa's, it was just kind of like, yo, we going over there to play ball. We might end up scrapping somewhere or another, but next week we going to be good, and then we going to play ball again. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, your mentorship, and that's what I think BG is talking about, that we need coaches, we need mentors to kind of give to our current youth, because right now our youth are lost. They don't have that mentorship.
Right. But you're 100% correct, and I know Frank. Frank is a great guy. I know him when I was young too, and Frank was always positive and always Frank Morales always positive, and he could play. He could shoot that jumper, and you know never been disrespectful. You know, I think the biggest thing is you got to show the youth respect, you know, but also you got to tell them the truth. But I think the most important thing is that in this era is that we don't have community centers open like that. Everybody's trying to charge to get into a gym. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I remember just going out on Heavy Street Settlement and working out with the older guys for Operation Athlete. They were getting ready to go to college. And I'm one of the youngest guys working out with Coach Kidd, Coach Mel, and, you know, Barry at the front desk. When you come in, you better be correct. If not, you're not going downstairs right away. He's going to check you already. Barry's already going to check you. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Put your pants up. You know what I mean? And to this day, I still stay in touch with Barry. How about that? And Mel and Coach Kidd. But what I was really saying is that, you know, I was talking to Debbie Cox, like maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Henry Street wasn't, for a while, Henry Street hasn't been really available for our community. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the higher ups, whoever it is at that time, I don't know who is it, they didn't focus on our youth. They didn't focus on bringing Brian Garner back, Eddie Lau back, and mentoring these kids, using the tutoring programs, you know, using the gym to so they could be in there in the winter instead of hanging on the block with some other dude that they're not supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? There's no home for the youth right now, for them to get away, play ping pong, and go to the Pittsburgh Boys Club, the Rutgers Center. You know, as small as Rutgers Center is, it saved many lives. I was in that little gym. It didn't matter. It was somewhere we could just play, yo, that's home. Instead of being out in the corner and just staying in front of the deli. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what might happen in the deli or in front of the building, in front of the 65 Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the most important thing is to be able to try to get these community centers back up and have these kids be able to say, yo, I could come in and out of here. If I have a problem, I could talk to, you know, whoever's in charge, you know, because a lot of kids, you know, it's sad because I coach in high school, but I work in high school. And I got a couple of kids, I'm not going to name names, but I got a couple of kids I know for a long time from the neighborhood who can't read and write. And it's very, very sad. Forget about basketball. They can't read and write. And some of these guys are just like, what are they going to do? They push them out of junior high school because they're getting too old, or they have to, you know, make sure they graduate so the percentage is right for that school. But the kid can't read and write. So I mean, I know we got to do our part, but the kids got to do their part, and their parents, obviously, if their parents are around. I get that part. But where is there a home for these kids to say, I could go to Henry Street, I could go to Rutgers, I could go to Basket City to do my homework, and then afterwards I could play some ball or whatever it is, you know. Henry Street.
What is that like?
Hold on, what's it? Henry Street got a lot of programs and a lot of money to be able to help our youth. So where's the connection at? How did they lose that connection? I know Debbie Cox been doing a great job with the community, but you know, we just had a conversation. They had a Foot Locker event down at BGR for the youth. Why wasn't it posted for nobody? Nobody knew about it until after the fact. How is that?
I hear you.
That stuff bothers me, and that's why you hear my tone of voice. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up with nothing. That's like many times.
You've just been hit with a gem.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, Brian knows that. It's just like, how do we help our youth? We can't save everybody, obviously. We can't. But where is there a home for these kids? The whole pandemic, Henry Street was never open. They had Henry Street, they had BGR. They, you know, Rutgers really wasn't open. Where can we help our youth?
See, that's what I wanted to ask you, bro. Like, in this time and date, we never experienced this before, right? What is the responsibility of mentors today to say both of those things? Like, we have to keep y'all safe. We can't just throw y'all together in the way we used to. But even more than that, we can't let y'all be separated or let this be an excuse to be more separated now. We got to double up our efforts to keep the youth connected in whatever way we can. What is the role of mentors now that mission is still urgent to normalize interaction, intergenerational support, while being safe in a new way that we never experienced before?
Hey, you can answer that real quick. I'm gonna chop right in like 2 minutes. I'm walking right upstairs to my house.
All right. You know, I just think that, you know, I'm really glad, you know, Light Skin brought me on the show, because I don't really do a lot of shows. You know, I was kind of hyped, be real, because I know him since we was young, and I know he's from the N.Y.C, and then BG, and then I didn't know BG was getting on. I didn't ask who was getting on, and he was like, yo, BG getting on. I said, bet. Then he said, Pupa was getting on. Another good one. Then when he said Kenny Anderson, I was even more hyped. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, this show's about basketball. How can we help coaches? By coaching and mentoring, how can we help the youth? Right? How can we save lives? I think a lot of times we scared of, not me, but we scared to tell even the people that have the resources, the power, to say, yo, you're not helping our community. You're not helping this youth. You pass by and see these kids on the same bench by 134 chilling, playing ball outside in the cold.
And don't say nothing.
Don't say nothing. You see them out there young enough, they smoking and drinking. And I'm not knocking anybody who smoke and drink, but they're young enough like, yo, what are you doing? Why don't you come inside? Come hang out with me. We'll get a slice of pizza. And I know all y'all have done it before. Brian, light skin. You know, we spend our own money to help a kid. Yo, you know, one of the kids was close with my son Jaden, and they from Lower East Side, and they around the same age. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really have sneakers and clothes like that. But we share. We give it to them. Right? That's how we help our youth. You know what I'm saying? It's real easy to say, yo, I'm going to help and I'm going to support. But a real person's going to step up. It's real easy to do it for the gram. Yo, video me this real quick. Let me give him a hot plate of food and then I'm gone for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Real talk, when you really doing stuff like that, you don't have time to pull out a camera.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't even think about it when, like, it's so many times where I do
Drop
something.
a gem on
like,
yourself right now.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know what? I get it. Sometimes you want to show it on the gram.
yeah, like I'll be like, oh, I wish I could have recorded that, but oh well.
How you gonna do it? How you really gonna do it and pass a food and be on the phone like this? How do you do it? You can't. You can't do that.
I don't even know how to think of it before. I mean, as at the moment, you know what I'm saying? In the moment of doing a good deed or knowing that I'm doing something, even when we in class, like,
how do you do that?
I don't record none of my classes. They think I recorded it. I don't record it because I don't think to record my class, even though we should have recorded it.
I'm gonna keep it real too, man, and kind of to answer your question, Eddie, and you know, Rod too. Real people gonna do real things without having to need the notoriety. So when you ask what you know why Rutgers wasn't open and why you know all those other places, right? And I'm gonna be real, me working within multiple organizations, the political aspect of things takes way too much power away from the community. And what happens is that places like Rutgers, now under different management, their management doesn't necessarily understand the struggles. You know, when Rutgers was open, we had Leticia, we had Frank, who just passed away recently. We had Mickey. Then that became Bob Jones. That became Howard Long, who both passed away. Shout out to them. The love and the passion that they have for the kids. They knew.
It's also too deep. Let me chime on real quick. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I want to chime in real quick, too, not to cut you off, but
it's a little quiet. Can you talk into the mic more?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer that as well, G2, and you're 100% right. What happens is it's the higher ups that don't do a good job with integrating with the community. I think Ed talked about that, but it's also the accountability of the community integrating with those programs. I think the community don't do a good enough job to say, well, this is supposed to be for us.
Yes.
Why isn't Eddie Lau, who works at Mary Bertrand, who's a coach at Mary Bertrand, why can't he come here from 5 to 8 and do basketball? Because the kids know him. He you know, he's a pillar in the community, and y'all can pay him that $18, whatever, because Eddie don't care about the money. Eddie just cares about the resources, and he wants to see those kids win. But we don't do a good enough job of holding those people accountable. So I was just on Clubhouse earlier advocating about the PSAL and what's going on with that. It's a whole mess with that. But we want to come up with all these ideas, but we don't want to enforce these ideas, and we don't want to hold these people accountable. You know what I'm saying?
It's 100% correct, BG. And going back to what Light Skin was saying about all those great guys at Rutgers that was there when we grew up.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what it is too. Be real. All these guys that run these centers are not from Lower East Side, so they don't give a fuck about Lower East Side kids like that. Let's be real. Let's call it for what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I come from the Lower East Side, I'm gonna care about my Lower East Side kids first and foremost.
Yes.
If I'm from Harlem, I'm gonna care about my Harlem kids. if the dude that's working there, and I'm not being disrespectful. If the dude is working there and they're not from Lower East Side or have no connection with anybody, family members or kids, they don't care who comes in and out of that gym. They just need numbers to keep their program going, so to get the money. The grant. That's right, DG. So,
not to cut your wisdom, Ed, but I'll be real with you.
Yeah.
And again, man, me coming from my resume, I'm not going to get into specifics, but my resume reads Boys Club, Grand Street, right? So I'm gonna straight up say off the back, I know of people within those organizations that when they had somebody from the community, because I know BG play, he was coaching and helping out a couple of organizations that the organization people, the higher ups, allowed people to be in there, so they would have kids write off like Christmas list, what they wanted for Christmas, and these are kids that don't barely have anything.
Right.
Those things come in and they're taking them and stealing them for their own families. Now this is staff. Then you have, it was great. So then you have other places, right? Again, my resume, but then you have other places in which programs were presented and given to better our community. Ownership of homes, teaching young how to publish a book, get their book publishing themselves. And that was shut down because truth of the matter is that the higher ups did not want better for the community. What they wanted was exactly what you're talking about. They wanted those grants. And that's why, so respect to everybody who's still within those organizations. Shout out to Debbie Cox. But a lot of times, like you said, a lot of people do the photo ops. They'll sit there and photography is one of the best things that all of a sudden they become an expert in when there's good work for them to show on. But then they'll take that photo and leave out of there 10 minutes later and act like they were there all day and honestly be out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just disgusting to see.
Facts.
So, so I'm glad you brought that up, brother, because I think it needs to be said.
The main people be out that day when the journalist comes in, and someone who never been there just happened to be there on that day and end up like the front page poster of the joint. You know what I mean? It's just that's how it happens.
Throughout this whole pandemic, Kareem Holmes, one of my best friends, also Lower East Side, and y'all light skin know him, and BG know him. My college teammate, the whole thing. Kareem Holmes and Mikey Ice Cream put me on with this guy named Frankie Gonzalez, who was actually teaming up with a group, and they was giving out hot plates, like once every maybe 2 months, but inviting me so I could help them give it out. You know what I'm saying? Not once was I really like, yo, video me this. But as a group picture, when they want to do it, yeah, we take a group picture. But I felt like it was for me to also give back by giving another hand, even though I was a little nervous about this whole, the whole COVID situation. But everybody wants to do it for the gram now. Everybody wants to do it on social media. I get it. It's a new era. It's a new generation. That's what they do. But back to what we were saying, how are we helping our youth? You got all this money, all this budget. The youth, the higher ups are making 6 digits. And they good. They might sponsor a one-day tournament here and there. But after that one-day tournament, it goes back to normal. Why there's no, like back in the days we played Henry Street Ruckers, there was team, boys club, Pitchery, there was teams. We all went to
sustainability.
Yeah, Henry Street Settlement took me all the way to kids Bay in the Bronx to play in a tournament. They got me, I was telling Debbie the other day, she didn't realize, when I was trying to go to prep school, I couldn't get to prep school, boarding school, because I didn't have the money and I didn't have the grades. Orlando Mitchens at that time was running it, former, NFL Giants. He's the one who actually brought me to Malloy and got me into Malloy. Then a coach came from South Dakota to recruit kids to go to high school in South Dakota. We thinking it's a boarding school. It's not. They recruited Fontaine and Apache Pascal, and then I got lucky. I begged them to get out of the neighborhood and brought me here. But people don't even realize they never did no research. We went to an Indian reservation in South Dakota. I was just telling Debbie Costa story the other day. I'm like, how is that? As a 16, 17-year-old kid, you going into an Indian reservation. I thought we had it bad. They had it 20 million times worse than us. You feel me? But back to that. There's no programs.
No, we gotta get the story of that one day. I know you don't do a lot of these, my G, but we gotta get that story on the future. I would love to hear about that.
I'm dead serious. You could ask Fontaine, you could ask Apache, and that's the first time I met. When I left that school, I wound up transferring to another school in South Dakota. Becky Hammond's brother was on my team. That their family took care of me. You know what I'm saying? Some other people. Before she was this big Becky Hammond. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you, but back to Boys Club, getting kids in the boarding school, Henry Street, getting kids to Operation Athlete, and going up and down 95 South to visit colleges. Where's all that stuff at? I don't even know any kids that go to Henry Street to do any of that stuff from the community. One of the reasons why I went to Sewell Park and started working back at Sewell Park and Murray Bertram, and not, Thomas Jefferson High School or Wings High School or Lincoln High School, who have these great sports programs. Because Sewell Park is from Lower East Side. Murray Bertram is from Lower East Side. I wanted to help my youth, my community in the neighborhood. I could have went to work in the DOE, that light skin. You can work anywhere you want. In the Bronx, Queens, and me, you talked about it before. We'd love to hook up together and work downtown together and make shit happen. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. But back to what we're saying, it comes back to, like I said, the higher ups. How do we get their attention?
Do you feel like you're becoming, now that we getting older, do you feel like you're becoming a higher up, or do you feel like your role is to facilitate between them and the youth, like to make sure they keep seeing the youth and the youth keep seeing someone that has the flexibility to still connect with them? Or do you feel like we got to become the higher ups?
Well, as you get older, you kind of consider yourself a higher up, no matter if you want that title or not. Like a kid called me, I think 3-4 years ago, OG. And I looked around like, fuck you calling? I told my boy this story is, I really looked around because I'm used to calling my OGs OG. When the young dudes say, yo, OG, I'm like, I know this little motherfucker ain't talking to me. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you, Eddie Lau. I said, yo, man, don't call me that. But then I got home and I said, yo, I told my wife that. I said, yo, young could call me OG. I said, well, you are getting freaking old.
Reality check.
Shout out to the wives once again. The wives win in every episode. Your wife is no exception. Salute.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I didn't really consider myself like, yo, I'm going to be this community activist and I'm going to just go out there and just go rep Ellie's ass and for the youth. I try to do it on my own, and with light skin, reaching out to me like, yo, let's figure this out. BG, yo, Ed, let's figure this out. But it also comes back, you have to have a right team. Because if not, a lot of people is about ego. They stick out their chest. I don't care. None of that stuff. I just want to see us win. You know what I'm saying? If he wins and she wins, we all win. If there's money to be made, we
That's
all
a gem.
We all
That's
go
a gem.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with people for me that I'm thinking. A lot of times people get information, they don't want to share it to help another person out, or there might be a job available. Like, I'm like, yo, you're just throwing out there, yo, light skin, yo, there's a job in my school. You interested? Or yo, you might vice versa say that to me. Yo, Ed, what's up? There's a coaching job there. Yo, you want to do it? There's a part-time job, but they're making some good money. What's up? We don't do that enough. We don't do that. We hide stuff from people, the information and secret, right? So
That's a great point. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We don't share the info because I want you to win. I want BG to win. I want this person to win. We don't do that. In a lot of other places, not to be funny, BG know it too. A lot of places, they show me love way more than Lower East Side. They show BG love way more on Lower East Side. I go to Brooklyn. You would think I'm from Brooklyn sometimes. You know what I mean? Certain places. You know what I'm saying? But why don't we show love to each other? I tell people all the time, Graham, yo, you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work. This wasn't gas. You know what I'm saying? He's younger than me. He's doing his thing. Let's go. Let's go.
Now, and we need that, man. I think one question I do have, BG, if you could answer this, and then Eddie, has ball allowed opportunities for you that you wouldn't have had otherwise? Do you feel like ball has put you in positions that if it wasn't for ball, you wouldn't be there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, you talk about sports and just, you know, not even just basketball, but it's again, they talk about it's not what you know, but who you know. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, you know, the people you come across in basketball are the people that position you in life. You know what I'm saying? And that goes with hip hop. That goes with a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? So you talk about something simple as traveling, playing AAU basketball. You know, some of these inner city kids from the projects, they never been to California. They never been to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? To walk the strip.
They never been to Jersey.
They never been to Jersey. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to walk the strip of Las Vegas as a 15,
I haven't been off the block. Let's be real.
To be able to travel, you know, and just see different cultures and see different walks of life is something that I think King Rob was talking about earlier. It motivates you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, I want more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to go in a swimming pool. Like some kids, you know what I mean? Outside a pit pool, they never been to a pool. They never been into a jacuzzi or a pool. And it's just
he said outside a pit pool.
I was just on a Brad Young when we was having dinner last night. I said, yo, listen, man, I didn't even know how to swim, but you know, me and Kareem Holmes was playing at Quinnipiac and went to a college trip to Miami, and we saw the beautiful blue water. I didn't even know how to swim, but I said, I got to get in that water.
You jumping in?
Yeah, because back home, I ain't going to pit pool. You know what I'm saying? People are peeing there, they're taking a shit, going around like, oh,
you don't know what's in that pool.
That might be in there.
Yo, wow.
You might get infected.
Yeah, so again, just to talk about what George saying,
might get arrested. What's in your system? Where this came from?
Right. So it's just like it's important. I mean, like you don't get those opportunities and you don't get those chances to just see different things of life. And what it does is it humbles you, by the way, and then B, it motivates you to just aspire for more. And then what you want to turn around and do is you want to give somebody else the opportunity to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember coming home from my first AAU trip, you know, going to Las Vegas for the first time in my life. And I had both my parents, so I went on vacations and things like that. But I got my first pair of basketball sneakers in AAU, and I came home and gave them to my man. Like I gave them to my man because he was so like inspired. I remember I'll never forget it like it was yesterday. Adidas Pro models. Like it was big to him to see me with Adidas Pro models. And I
had a deeper meaning. And it wasn't just a sneaker.
Right. I gave him to my man and was like, yo, here, have that. Because in his mind, it was like, I made it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was one of the people.
That was like a plane trip. That sneaker is like a plane trip. Like, that takes him somewhere else.
So that's what, when George is talking about that, it's like, yeah, man, like sports gives you a heck of a lot of more opportunities than you will get normally. But like what Eddie said is like you have to value that. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to appreciate it, and you can't take it for granted, and you have to pave it forward. So like somebody like Ed who did the things, he drove me to prep school. Like, you know what I'm saying? I remember that to this day, him driving me to a prep school that I eventually wound up going to go for him to go help somebody else. I just took a trip with him. You know what I'm saying? But to see him do that now looking back, you know what I'm saying, as an adult, that I was like that stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? So now I do that to this day for other kids. I take them, you know what I'm saying, to different colleges or take them to a prep school to meet a coach, but not knowing that was Ed taking his time, and he didn't even probably know he was doing that for that, but that enrooted something in me
to want to pave it forward. And I think a
Oh,
lot of
you
these
just
people,
dropped a gem in there too, because like I heard you saying the gem about like, you know, being able to give tough love, like being able to be there enough for the love of the youth that we with,
right.
that when we do have to check them, it's coming from someone who is safe, that they know, oh, this person has my better interests in mind. Because you have to be able to do both. You can't just be nice and fluffy. Like was saying, you can't just be like, oh, let me get your Christmas list, but then not actually be trying to give these things to them. You got to be the one that's like giving them dreams and stories, and then letting them know we're trying to help you reach those too. So that was one. Another one's definitely taking people to the other environment. But you just slipped into more, which, correct me if I'm wrong. One is you saying Eddie, and I feel like all our listeners can just see he's breathing it. Like he actually loves his, like in marketing, they would say
love people though,
he loves the
not to
youth.
cut you off. Ed love people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And this is when you talk about coaches and you talk about mentors. You have to be in the business of loving people. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not in it, you're gonna be able to see that from a mile away of somebody who's fake. You know what I'm saying? So we can talk to kids like that because we instill love into them, and they know that it's coming from a real place. You know what I'm saying? So a kid, I could tell a kid that's 6'8", 240 pounds, that I know if me and him go toe to toe, he probably could beat me. But I can give him tough love, and he gonna respect it because he know that BG organically loves him. You understand what I'm saying?
You said,
it was done to me.
Talk to, not talk down to.
I'm talking to you. I'm not talking down to you. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was done to me. I remember times Ed yelling at me, cursing at me, and I'm going home crying at my father. And because he had a relationship with my father, he didn't care if I was going to tell my father because my father wasn't going to say nothing. He's going to be like, Ed,
his father probably told him to do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you get teenagers, like, yo, I need the uncle to talk to you because I'm gonna just slap fire out the left side.
It's so crazy you say that, Brian. It's true. And the problem I think nowadays with this generation is that, parents are just soft with their kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Coddle them.
It's soft with their kids. They don't want to tell them they're wrong. They don't want to discipline because it takes a lot of energy to discipline your kids. Yeah. Let's just be real. All right? It takes a lot of energy, especially if the kid doesn't want to listen. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have other parents. Like, kids don't respect other people's parents no more. I used to be at Jimmy Mejia's house, right? Jimmy Mejia's house, mom didn't speak no English. He had an older brother, Ramon, rest in peace, had two little sisters. I used to be in his house sleeping over. She didn't speak no English. Or she used to say Chinito. Or you used to call me Chinito. She didn't call me Eddie. Chinito, basically like Chinese kid. She treated me like I was one of her sons. Fed me. To this day, I ran into her obviously at the funeral of Ramon's. But nowadays you got the youth. They don't respect the older people. Like, look at Channel 1. They got the youth robbing, beating up older people, robbing them. We used to protect our grandfathers and older people and make sure they cross the street and they safe. And then once they got in the building, shit, everything was good. Everything is whatever. But we ain't robbing them. We ain't beating them up.
They came outside. You kind of put stuff to the side. Like, hey, how you doing? We not doing nothing out here, Grandma.
Or the lady who was in the liquor store. When they beat her up and mushed her. Like, you serious? That's somebody's mom, sister, or whatever. Whatever.
Because you know why? For the most part, man. For the most part, a lot of people are being raised by suckers, man. And I'm not even talking about the parents. The streets is, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny, man. I'm gonna share a story, man, without getting into too many specifics. But I remember me going to visit one of my students, and I don't do this, and it's crazy, man. And I'm getting real personal. My brother did a lot of time inside. My brother did a lot of time inside and Rikers and other places, but I didn't really visit him like that because I couldn't see him like that. Well, a couple of my students got locked in, and I went to visit them just off of you need the love, you need the support. And I remember going to Rikers, man, taking that bus ride and running into Eddie, who was making a visit himself. You know what I mean? And just seeing that type of support, love, and that type of
Wait. Tell me, we ran into each other?
Yeah, and Rikers.
You know who I was visiting then?
I know who. Yeah, I ain't want to get into it, but yeah, I know who.
Jason Williams.
Yep. I remember you was with his moms. You was with his moms. Yep.
He can't get mad at me. I don't give a fuck. Because I went to visit him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's all the love that he showed me when I was young. You know what I'm saying? Send me to camps and, you know, let me live with him being a ball boy. You know what I'm saying? Just because whatever mistake you made, it doesn't change me for who you are. You're still my man. I still love you. You know,
exactly.
So just because you made a mistake, you locked up, I'm gonna come visit you. You know what I mean?
That's why I had to bring that up, man. Just because I know, like, you know, I know BG, man. BG, and it's funny because Smith and Ruckus always had that love-hate type of thing, man. Brian always been my brother, man. And I know that there's people that are, you know, from Smith who are locked down that BG still stays in contact with. And it's just that type of community love that we need. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I brought it up, because I think, you know, while I was in there visiting one of my students, here it is, you visiting, that loyalty to even bring somebody's mother to go visit them. That's the type of the real love. Like, and a lot of people, man, trust when I tell you, there's a lot of people that'll go visit people just to kind of take the pictures and be like, yo, you know what I mean? But I know the real, recognize the real. So it's just kind of like seeing that type of love. And whenever somebody come home or somebody is young and before they even make those mistakes to even go in, here it is brothers like y'all two who are sitting there like, yo, chill, let me talk to you. There was a video, not to shout you out, Brian, but BG had a game going and two young bulls were about to get at each other like, yo, fam, word the mother, I'm going to smack you in your face as soon as we get off. And I seen BG, he put the video out, and I love that he did. Pulled him to the side, was like, yo, if y'all going to box it out, if y'all going to do that, that's not over here. That's not what I'm teaching. I'm going to teach y'all how to be real men and understand that fighting and all that testosterone and all that you're trying to exhibit here, y'all could be that much more better together as a teammate. You know what I mean? And they stopped. Them dudes were like, you know.
But light skin, let's be real. Those two didn't want to fight.
I mean, and that's not testosterone too. To be real, it's not. It's actually emotion. That's emotional. So it's more of the feminine aspect of where it comes from. It comes from more.
I seen two women yesterday in Hartford walk across the street like superheroes and beat each other's behinds. Yeah. And they wasn't yelling. They wasn't calling for help. Yeah. They was looking dead in each other's eyes as women. And it was to the point where when we usually rush up and break it, everybody kind of stopped because it was like, oh, y'all, this is MMA. Like, y'all doing this so professionally at this point. Like, do you need a referee? Like, and then they just handled their business and walked off. You know what I'm saying?
Not to cut you off, Kai. Light skin. Be real.
That's masculine. Those are masculine women, by the way, just to clarify.
Like back to what I was saying, they didn't want to fight because what BG should have did, in my opinion, y'all want to fight, get in the circle. And none of them want to fight. They're not trying to fight. And that's
what are you saying? Are you saying like maybe when you was acting like that, it's because of what they really calling out for is us, the older brothers, to step in and do what y'all is doing, right?
It's a mixture of a lot of things, Kai, and Rod touched on it.
That's
you know what I mean. But what happens is and Ed is right. You know, Ed is old school, so that's why Ed is on that type of time. But Ed is learning. You know, Ed is like Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? He understands how to go with the times as well. But he's still old school in that way where he would have told them straight up, y'all want to fight, go in the locker room and get it in. Y'all got 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? That's how he grew up. But I say this. But I say this to say this is that you have to understand your kids. You know what I mean? It's like your players is almost like your children. You know what I'm saying? And the kid and the one kid that was lashing out, he's a fake street kid. You know what I'm saying? He's not even a street kid. He's a fake street kid. And I tell people, you can be you can be in the streets, or you can hang with street people. That don't mean you a street dude. You understand what I'm saying? So for him, I had to really put him in his place to understand that, my man, like, people are already writing you off. Yeah. So if you continue to act like this, nobody's gonna want to deal with you, especially not a college coach that's making $250,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna. The easy thing for me to do is to kick you out and be like, "Yo, go home, don't come back." The hard thing to do is to let you stand there in front of your peers and break you down and let you know that if you continue to do this, you're gonna fail. And now that I told you this, you accountable for your actions now. So
Well,
if
to
I
add
did,
to what you're saying too, you're talking to the emotional side.
it's
That was communication. You know what I mean? And that's
mental.
actually taking a step back and communicating to the emotion that's being expressed and breaking it down and building it back up into what he actually needs to see himself as. And what happens is there's that balance where it comes into if you don't listen to this communication, because you are that much emotional, then all right, then let me test your testosterone. Go ahead and get in that ring, circle up, then go ahead and fight him. And then that will break him down even more and say, I ain't trying to do that. Now you're going to listen to me then. Now let's communicate.
Yeah.
Now you
100%.
just made it extra fool of
And
yourself.
it could be on the ball court too, right? It could be with boxing gloves. It could be. It's almost like it's the youth's job to feel honest emotion and want to express it, and it's our job to give them a safe place to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we're not there giving them the channel, they gonna hurt themselves.
But and what happens is though too, Rod and Kyle, is like they used to that. You know what I mean? So I had to really dial back and say this kid is used to somebody cursing him out. He's used to somebody talking negative, telling him he ain't gonna be shit. You know what I'm saying? He's used to that. So why not give him something different in a positive manner to see what's gonna channel that? And it was crazy because when I posted the video, it was people from his own place in Coney Island that was like, yo, BG, don't invite that kid back no more. And I'm like, how can you tell me not to invite that kid back no more without giving him a chance to redeem himself? And that's when it goes back to saying, when you're in the business of coaching, when you're in the business of being a youth advocate or being anything involving with education in the youth, you have to really love the kids, man. If you don't love them, you're not gonna get no results. You know what I'm saying? But when you really care, you're gonna see those kids graduate college. You're gonna see those kids get married. You're gonna see those kids get a job. You're gonna see those kids not be debt free. You're gonna see all those different things, man. And it's like it takes patience and it takes understanding of the person.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't mean to cut you off, BG, but also is that all of us, I think, I don't know about my other man, we all had more than one chance, second chance. We was never perfect, so that's why we always. It's easy to help the kids that don't need help, and they still need help. But we always find the kids that need extra support, that need a second and third chance and fourth chance, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? That's always been my downfall. You know what I'm saying? In certain ways, I especially when I was young. Like for example, helping a kid get into school, and the kid doesn't do his work and get kicked out. And me and the coach get into it when I was young because I love that kid so much, and I expressed it in different ways. Then get him into another school, he gets kicked out again, right? It's because also I wasn't perfect. I wasn't a first chance, second chance. I didn't even know. I knew BG transferred to a lot of high schools. I didn't know we had the similar stuff. You know what I mean? So I heard about his story. There was some schools that he'd been to. I'm like, I didn't know he went to school in Jersey. I knew St. Anthony's, but I didn't know the other one. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody love you, they're gonna stick by you no matter what. This is the bottom line. Your wife, your boy, your mentor.
And not only that, not to cut you off, Ed, but I love that you said that, brother. And I think BG is coming from that vein too. Mm-hmm. When somebody do love you, not only are they not going to let you mess up, but they're going to alleviate that process by trying to help you be guided to the proper place in which you need to be. You know what I'm saying? And I think even, with that young man, because when I seen the video, man, I think the dopest thing about it was BG approached it on that level. He was like, yo, there could be scouts right now. They just seen you act up. They ain't going to want to deal with you on the team. Nobody's going to want to, and there are people in the A right now, sick, nice, could kill anybody on the court and are not picked up on teams based on, shout out, man, straight up, honestly speaking, man, Carmelo Anthony is one of them dudes that for a minute was out of a team and one of the most lethalest offensive players and could not find a team that would want him because of different stigmas and different things. Now you're talking about a man who's making millions and put people on his back for years in Syracuse and so on and so forth. But then it gets to a point when you show your resume off too soon, or when you show your resume off to be a negative one, the people gonna look at that and be like, yo, I'm good. You know what I mean? Phenomenal talent. I'm good. As a matter of fact, I had, not to get too personal, BG had a tournament. I brought a team in, bunch of killers, straight squad. First game, we blew one team out by like 40. These kids got way too comfortable, and I love them to death, man. Had one kid eating a burger on a layup line. I was like, yo, what are you doing, man? We got killed by 15. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it is.
Come on, light skin. Come on. BG, confirm that, please. The dude ate a burger like, ah!
Yeah, he was, BG looked at me. He was like, yo, he's nice, but he'd be hard to coach. And I respect you for even coaching him. And even when I seen him, I was like, yo, come here. What are you doing? He's like, no, I'm hungry. I said, yo, if you hungry, you talk to me and go to the side and eat that. You don't try to show your ass off on the court. And I'm glad we got beat on that game. Because what it showed was when you don't put in that time and the work, you try to clown off, the circus will be open for you. And I love the kid. I love the kid. Phenomenal talent. You know what I mean? But, so with all that being said, man, I think in the interest of time too, I got one more question, man. And I just want to see, where y'all stand on this. But either one can answer first. BG and Ed, how impactful do you feel that you are to the youth that you're working with today?
Say that again.
How impactful do you feel that you are with the youth that you're working with today? And if you could speak on that real quick.
I mean, I think I'm very impactful because I share my experience. From my, it's not like I read a book and trying to tell them from a book or saw a movie, a doc, and trying to, and give them those information to kid. I was once that kid like these kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't do nothing crazy, robbing nobody, but I was on the streets. I didn't study. I didn't take it seriously, and I love basketball. And I was running around, hanging out with this one and that one, and I wasn't disciplined enough to study and sit down because I didn't really care about school. You know what I mean? So there's still, we still have something in common, and we grew up in Lower East Side. You know what I mean? So,
what public school did you go to? Pardon me, I know it's a crazy answer.
I went to PS2, then junior high school 56, and then I went to Sewell Park for 2 weeks. Then I went to Malloy High School.
Did you have a brother at one point?
No, I had an older brother, but y'all would never know my brother. Y'all would never know. They're totally different, two different people.
Much older.
Kai, you got to understand this, Kai. When I was out, there was no Chinese people hanging out with Black and Spanish people. There was no Chinese people playing ball.
Except for you and Alan, I know, because Alan was like my best friend.
Listen, I don't know who Alan is. No disrespect to Alan, but there was no Alan. They didn't want to hang around with kids like that. Trust me when I tell you that. And light skin will tell you that. BG will tell you that because BG's younger than me. But you didn't have a pass like I did. I go from Smith to Rutgers to Vallada's to down the hill to Alphabet City and back.
So Eddie never met Alan. Y'all gotta definitely gotta connect.
Here's the crazy shit. Not that I was
that's crazy.
And I'm not even a killer, but people love me. I love them. Basketball got me involved with it. People for some reason they like the Chinese kid. You know what I'm saying? Just be real. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to worry about.
No, it's the Chinese kid with the swag. See, you had to be known for something. You had to be known for something. You was the Chinese kid with the swag, or you had the handle, or you had a jump shot. Like niggas, we couldn't fuck with you because of something. Like, what was that? You know what I'm saying? What were you known for?
Yeah. Exactly.
I was just known to hang out, be cool, man, and have fun. You know what I'm saying? About have fun, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We got me and Light gonna connect you with Alan because he was that other dude and he was right on Rutgers and like he played ball, but he was more known for their hands. You know what I mean? So when y'all meet each other, y'all gotta relate so hard.
No disrespect to Allen, man, but when you talk about that movie that's out, I don't know if it came out, but Boogie with Pop
I was
Smoke,
just about to ask you about that.
That I don't know who wrote that. I don't know who directed that, but they took a chapter Ed Lau book. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you,
he's gonna be
BG.
very humble, and he's gonna be very humble, and this is my big brother here, man. You know what I'm saying? But no disrespect to Allen, Ed did it on a different level, and he was very humble about it, but he broke barriers when it comes to talking about Asian community basketball.
With the ball,
being able to step outside the realm and really do their thing on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? So I had to jump in and give him his flowers. But
Eddie, did you see the movie?
You know what? It's crazy. I did see it.
You did? Okay, I haven't seen it, but this does remind me of the movie.
Check this out. So somebody's supposed to do a documentary, and somebody sent me the trailer, and I looked at the trailer. Hey, your movie about to come out. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Right?
That's crazy.
No, seriously, this is God's truth.
That's crazy. Like you said, you the OG now.
Hold on. I saw the trailer, and I showed it to my wife. I'm like, yo, am I bugging out or what? The movie came out last Friday. I was in Utah. My son and it's crazy. Light skin. One of the graffiti artists that we used to tag up. I didn't know him back then, but his son's on my team. Scuff, right? Scuff's son was on my team. We all went to the movies in Utah. The kids wanted to see that movie, so I'm like, bet. BG, this threw me off. I wasn't even hating on whoever wrote the script, right? So, Jose Guzman said he saw it. Okay, cool. So check this out. We watched the movie in Utah. It was just us 4 and 3 other white kids, which is fine. It was empty. The whole when it first started, they were talking about the kid. The kid transferred from Archbishop Malloy High School. Wait, hold on. The scenes was filmed in Chinatown's Park, across from the Federal Building. And when the kid got off the bus, Brian Garnhart, light skin, everybody, by 134 Park by the pizza shop. All right?
Wow.
So no disrespect to anybody who played ball that was Chinese, besides my cousin Mel, who's Chinese and Spanish. No disrespect. And I'm not trying to be funny, and BG knows me, man. I'm not cocky. I don't do that. Name me one person that played at that Division I level and played in pro ball in China and Taiwan, and worked with an agent that number 1 pick Kenya Martin, the Gilbert Arenas, Jason Richardson, Troy Murphy, and all those guys. You know what I'm saying? That and then they mentioned, they had to switch it around different ways, but the dude messing with a black girl. You know what I'm saying? Then they had the mother hired a Chinese agent to help the kid find a school. So where are you getting that at? You know what I'm saying? Why was it filmed that?
I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't see it yet, but the fact that you say he came off of 134, that says a lot. Because there's a lot of places in the world for you to come off on Lower East Side. And I will tell you that Eddie was that dude.
Did he come? He was in the Lower East Side.
He was in the Lower East Side. Yeah, that's crazy.
It was shot.
And they mentioned.
I remember they had a video game in that piece.
No, they mentioned Archbishop Malloy. They never mentioned St. Francis Crab, Holy Cross, Christ the King, Bishop Lau. They mentioned Archbishop Malloy. What Chinese kid went to Archbishop Malloy to play? You name it. Nobody from Lower East Side ever left to play Catholic school that was Chinese. They didn't even make let's be real, they didn't even make a fucking team. You know what I'm saying? So my thing was, I was like, yo, so y'all not gonna give me my props for that?
Talk to them.
Right here.
That spice. You heard it first. Y'all heard it first right here.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you heard it first right here, man. We gotta give him his prop. The whole time that we've been on this podcast since we started, in the back of my mind, I was waiting to ask him, did he see this movie? Like, I just, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it, I'm putting it together like, yo, this My son went and seen the movie. He really asked me to go see. He went to go see the movie, and he told me all about it. And I'm listening to your story. I'm like,
yo, listen, family. You don't have to ask me. You could ask. I'm 45. You could ask people from Brooklyn, Booger Smith. You could ask Brian Garner, he's younger than me. You could ask Rayford Austin. You could ask Kareem Reed.
Lamar Odom.
You could ask people that actually played ball in my era. And when they see a story, it's like, yo, that's Eddie Lau story. You know what I'm saying? And this is the truth.
Minds.
You know what I'm saying? It gives me chills talking about it. It's like, word?
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't see the joint, but the Archbishop of Lloyd and the 134, and I'm gonna be real with you. Ed, your hair has always been short, so I seen the
same haircut.
So
trailer, right?
that's crazy. I seen the trailer. That is very crazy, B. And I'll be real with you.
Rest in peace, Pop Smoke.
You know, I think at the end of the day, man, this is why something like this podcast, man, what y'all doing, man, it's needed to, BG, we had Nate on here. Ed, we had Nate Ingram in here. I told him I felt like Enter the Dragon, The Last Dragon was based on his movie. Straight up, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna be real with you. I don't put it past. It's disgusting to see it when you don't give love. Like you again, this is what this country do though. They take the soil and they take everything that is from another person and take it as if they invented it. The fact that homeboys from Archbishop Malloy are getting off in the Lower East Side with the same haircut, disgusting.
Yo, light skin. Somebody, I forgot who. I'm getting old. I be forgetting shit. Somebody called me, said that they saw the guy, the producer, doing an interview and showing his videos because they said basically it's by him when he was playing ball. Then they couldn't couldn't enjoy the ball to save his life.
Come make a layup. But yo, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. And I don't want to get us so far off topic. I'm glad I brought that up. But it's crazy, man. That like Ed said, we live in this world where people don't want to get flowers. You know what I'm saying? But to answer, just to dial back and answer what a light skin said about us being impactful, I'll touch on this, right? Somebody always told me your peers gonna show you who you are. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And as peers, he doesn't have to speak, or I don't have to speak about the things that we done and who we impacted. You know what I'm saying? Because our peers is gonna tell you what we did. You know what I'm saying? And the body of work is gonna always show and speak for itself. You know what I mean? We all could plant the same seeds, but my flower gonna look different than yours. Because of how I watered it and what I did to it, you know what I'm saying, and that's where the real impact comes when you see a kid that you had since 10 years old, you know what I mean, and now they in college. I can name a bunch of kids that's playing college basketball, you know what I'm saying, that Eddie Lau helped. Louis that's at Quinnipiac right now. The kid, wasn't gonna make it out of high school, and we can say that because we know him. But from his grades, but the situations and the decisions that Ed and his family made for him, now he's a college athlete, man. That's gonna be debt free.
He made all
freshman team.
Yo, he got a $70,000 per year scholarship. 70 grand times 4. Do the math.
So when you talk about impact, that's the impact right there. So I just want to segue to that, but that's why we do it. That's why we do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's
BG. I don't want to cut your wisdom, brother. Let's talk about how you got people drafted in the NBA too, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like I love the fact, and when when we came up with the idea to have this, man, it was a must. Like you said, BG, we live from the cloth that I ain't got to speak about what I do. I let others who really know, understand, and respect it speak for me. You know what I mean? And it ain't even like it needs to be done, right? But at the same time, it was a must. That's why, man, shout out to Pupa. I'm hoping he's okay. Shout out to Kenny A. That's why, I wanted to bring them on. Pupa, I was coaching him, you know what I'm saying? And I seen his heart on the court, you know what I mean? And I seen this dude, he was always the the gritty, like, yo, it ain't even about, and no disrespect to him, it ain't even about he being the most talented on the court or the most, but he was always the hardest worker on the court. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and that was with Glenn Williams too, man. Shout out to Glenn. You know what I mean? Loved him, man. But for the most part, man, yeah, rest in peace to Glenn Sr. You know what I mean? But I for a minute was coaching Glenn Williams, his son. He's a monster too. Him and Pupa together on the same team. And, you know, so I say all that to say, man, the work that y'all doing, man, I want to tell you straight off the bat, man, from the outside in and from the inside out, I'm lucky to, you know, I'll tell you straight off the back, I'll say it on here, BG, love you, man. Love you, King. You know what I mean? So, Ed, you always had that loyalty, brother. You always had that. I remember there was a somebody I went to school with that their son happened to be on your team. And I was like, yo, you think you're helping? He was like, yo, he's on my team. He got better. You know what I'm saying? So these are things, man, whenever we kind of like at the end of the day, understand that our arsenal may not be enough for a certain war, when we could turn to certain brothers and be on some real like, yo, BG, I got this person, he need help. Ed, I got this person, he need help. And my brothers just jump in and put that seed in and create the amazing gem and flower that they become. This is what I'm talking about, man. So I salute y'all, man. I can't tell you how much, you know, and this is the work this is how we build stronger foundations. When I see Marty doing what he's doing with Why Not Care, when I see, you know, 5-4 Press now being the innovator of basketball cards and helping the youth capture a moment so that they can now become that right there. That's what I'm talking about, man, in regards to building an empire together. You know what I'm saying? So we here, brother. Whatever y'all need, we always gonna be here, man. You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, you know, love is love.
I got a final question, yo. I got two final questions. One, what do you do since we catering this at the youth and the so-called OGs in this era? What do you do when they like, yo, LeBron James? Like when they see you across the street, they be like, yo, LeBron James. Do you just like brush it off, and you be like, yeah, I got some basketball projects? You like, how do you parlay that when they be like, yo, King James?
You talking to me?
You know it.
Yeah, nah. I mean, for me, like I said, Ed, you know, I'm cut. You know, me, George, Ed, we got LES dudes. I think we just cut different, man. You know what I'm saying? And we humble. But I tell dudes, like, you know, I had three sneaker contracts. You know what I'm saying? In 6 years, you know, from basketball. You know what I'm saying? One with Puma, one with Adidas, and I'm about to sign one with Nike. You know what I'm saying?
Talk that talk.
So to be able to do that, you know, from an orange basketball and kids, not only to be able to do it and help kids and service kids, but to show kids that, yo, I didn't make the NBA, you know what I'm saying? But I made something with basketball. Wow. You know what I mean?
Options.
It's like that's something that is powerful. You know what I mean? Because you don't gotta be LeBron James.
Flexible.
You don't gotta be LeBron James to impact the kid's life. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, real quick to let you know, real quick. I'm really proud of BG. I'm gonna tell you why.
Talk.
BG always find a way.
It's a fact.
I remember when he first did the tournament. In and I'm glad he did it in Lower East Side, because we don't get respect in Lower East Side for basketball for some reason. I don't know why not. But we bust a lot of cats in New York City, Lower East Side.
All the way up to West 4th.
Shit, all the way up to Brooklyn, Queens, everywhere. Be honest with you. Shit, we got an NBA All-Star in Lower East Side. Not too many boroughs got that. Jason Williams. Got Mouse and McFadden.
Right down from the hill. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got Calvin Lamb, Deron Lamb. Deron played at Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So my thing is with BG, what I love about it is that BG got hands on everything right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think it remind me of myself a little bit, but I think he's doing a way better job than myself. You know what I'm saying? I think what BG is been able to tap is not just New York City. It's around the country. And then people don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? So, and he had expanded in everything from the trainer, from running events, running tournaments, right? You know, pro camps, selling merchandise. You know what I mean? So he's telling you all kind of how versatile he is, what all angles he got. And for all the young people out there, you need to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's always hope. There's always somebody that can help you. If not that person, is one person away. But you got to be hungry, though. Once you lose your competitiveness and stop being hungry, you are finished in anything you do. You know what I'm saying? In anything you do.
I'm going to tell you how real it is. The crazy thing is, now that you say that, Ed.
That sweater right here.
Yo, bro, that's fire. Bro, I'm not going to get into names, B. So BG brings this tournament.
N.Y.C about to roast somebody again.
BG brings this tournament to the Lower East Side. B, they put up a brand new court, man. It's crazy, beautiful, lights out, right? Summertime, right? And I go to support my brother. Doing a phenomenal job out there. I'm gonna tell you how real it is.
Oh wait, think about it. He got that shit. He got that shit like Dykeman, right? Park.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Nobody done it. Nobody have done it.
There was a dude. Yo, this is foul, man. There was a dude who was playing, right? Not gonna get into names. I'm not gonna get into his name. In the NBA, right? He was in the NBA. He was in the NBA, playing against another team with another NBA player. So they going back and forth, man. Yo, the hood being the hood as it is, I love the Lower East Side. They were like, yo, you trash, B. So they call a timeout. While this dude goes to get his timeout on, they were like, I don't know if they checked Real GM. I don't know if they checked ESPN. These dudes said, yo, fam, you just got traded. Yo, this dude got traded without knowing he got traded while he's playing in the street tournament. And was going from the West Side team, and getting traded to the East Side team. And this was all in BG's tournament. And I felt so bad for the dude because that's the business side of it. That's when you know, like, yo, it ain't even about love. It's about the business. And these dudes didn't even care about his family or none of that. They said, yo, you out of here. He didn't even find out until the audience told him, yo, fam, you got traded. Like, yo, they playing with me, right? Somebody on the team pulled out a phone and showed them. I said, damn.
You know what's so crazy you said that? I had a similar story at Hunter Pro-Am when I was helping coaching Gary Prince team, Goes Gym. Malik, Mike Beasley was on my team. Mike Beasley, I think he was playing Nike 1. First half, he played like shit. Second, third, fourth quarter, he might have gave him like 50. God rest in peace, Shrick. And there's no service. If you know how to gym, you go in there, there's no service on your phone. Somebody told us, yo, tell Mike Beasley he got traded. And we all look at each other like, what?
Wow.
So that's a similar story to what you said. But back to BG. You can't name a park like what he did Lower East Side. And that's the love that's the love that he brought to Lower East Side. Think about it, he could have did it in Brooklyn and Harlem and jump on everybody else's bandwagon and do that. But he brought something different to Lower East Side. Like, look, y'all young kids, y'all got a chance.
Yeah, salute.
You know what I'm saying?
That brings me to my last question. I got one last question. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, to be real with y'all, all the rappers and everybody we have on the podcast, even though y'all don't do this a lot, y'all really spoke more to, like, you know me, Light and Rod would tell you, like, when you look at our other episodes, I'll be asking a lot of questions, I'll be pressing people and digging, but y'all just, like, y'all are very able to do this for them. You know what I mean? Y'all made it easy for us. Like, y'all went in depth, y'all transparent, y'all didn't hold back. So I want to salute y'all before I even ask my last question. Thank you for making it easiest for us to just, you know what I mean? You just talking. And that's why any parents, anybody, mentors out here, these is cats who you should model yourself, because obviously they're comfortable being transparent so they can give you the 360, not the 359. You know what I'm saying? But that brings me back to my last question. Like, what point did you really realize coming out the LES how amazing the LES is and how diverse it is? Because one of the things I tell people, like Rod knows this, one of the things I tell people, it's really your story. You know what I mean? I should start saying Eddie Lau, but one of the things I tell people is, like, when you outside of the LES, you really see how bad racism could get. We could never get racism that bad in the LES because you always saw a Chinese dude dunking on dudes. You know what I mean? You always saw whatever stereotype you had, you saw a different version of that in the LES that broke that stereotype.
100%.
And you couldn't help but bump into people by accident, like on the subway, whether you wanted to or not, at West 4th, at different places. And we took that for granted. When you came out to LES and you saw like people really don't ever see a different type of person, especially outside of a stereotypical way in a lot of these places in their whole life. Like they might be 40, 50 years old and never see a Chinese dude getting busy, you know what I'm saying? Or a black dude that's just like running businesses and things like that. In fact, I should talk about you too, because BG, y'all is the LES story that I tell people, you know what I mean? Which prevents racism just from that. Like, when did y'all really realize that? When you talk about taking youth out changes the way they think about where they're from, when did y'all realize like, oh, this place we from is different in terms of bringing different races? You know what I'm saying?
I growing up, just knowing that I have all different kind of friends, all race. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I didn't live in the projects. I hanged out in the projects. My family lived in the projects. So I was in the projects a lot. All my friends are from the projects. You know what I'm saying? But I could go to the right side, it'd be Chinatown. I go to the back of the water, it'd be Knickerbocker with all Irish and Italians. To the right side again, over there, is Smith Projects. I'll walk back to the left to Basketball City, is another projects. Black, Spanish, white people live in the project, Chinese people live in the projects.
Don't forget Grand Street. You said Henry Street settled. Don't forget the Orthodox Jews. You know what I mean?
They down the block, walking down the block with this shit, watching us play ball the whole day, going down the hill. It's all kind of stuff, all race. So it's crazy you said that. Because people say, yo, Ed, why sometimes you act like you always mad at the world? Even my wife, right? I said, because you didn't have to grow up like I did. When I left my house, I had to be ready to defend myself. There was a Chinese joke coming from my best friend, one of my friends from Lower East Side, left and right. I'm playing in Harlem.
He said from one of his best friends, yo.
You know, but you didn't. It wasn't racism. It was just snapping when you young.
Everybody was like Chino, like
they just snapping, yo. You know, and we snapping back and forth. You know that's just how it is in the LES. It's a melting pot.
Right.
If your skin wasn't tough, you ain't gonna make it, brother. That's truth. All right. But the other part is that you got all race in one. I don't. It's not even a borough. It's just one area. Like they just do us all down there together. You know what I'm saying? Like, believe it or not, I probably have more Asian people racist at me than y'all. Because I was more Americanized. I'm not really one of them. But if I made some noise, they'd be quick to jump on the bandwagon and say, yo, he's one of us. I'm just being real. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Asians that's racist too, to their own kind. You know, just like some of y'all like, yo, you can't be too dark. You gotta be light skinned. They don't like you. You know what I'm saying?
You just brought it full circle because one of the first things you said was tough love and how a lot of mentors. I just love how things come full circle. You was talking about tough love with the mentors, and now I feel like you just showed the scientific reason why. Like the cross section is when you in a certain place, you learn that like somebody could be snapping on you. That's your man's. You know what I mean? Like we learned that early. Like snapping on somebody or being different and just putting it out there from jump doesn't mean it's a problem. Like that's how you build relationships. You know, you don't got to shoot up their church.
Listen, we built a relationship. We had to shoot the 5 real quick. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's
black boxing all day early,
and then we'll go to around and go get a slice of pizza or 4 wings and fried rice. Something. But that's the part of growing up in Lower East Side was so special. You know what I'm saying? Like Harlem and Brooklyn, they special too. But Lower East Side, it's totally different. You have all race everywhere. And majority of the time when we was growing up, all of us didn't have no money in Lower East Side. Every race. Don't tell me you was rich. There's bullshit. Every one of us was broke, and every one of our parents maybe came from, that didn't speak English. Maybe, like my parents don't speak English. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of my friends' parents didn't speak English. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. We were all just going to have
you gotta have an episode with Eddie and Allen. I can't. Allen grew up in Rutgers. I can't believe you didn't know him.
Yeah, but it was
most gangster dude I know to this day.
Allen gotta be young. Yeah, Allen's young.
Yeah, Allen is younger, and Allen didn't play ball like that. Allen was a baseball player. That's why, for the most part, Allen and Rutgers, we knew what Allen, with the hands and whenever he had to get down. The truth of the matter is, that's just, that was the nature of the environment that we created. You know what I'm saying? That's who we were.
Listen, I don't know Allen, but I'm sure many times he fought because they probably called him Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. I already know that, so I know he had to defend himself.
Right.
It's
real. It's real
you already know.
And just to tap in what Ed was saying too, just for me, like when I decided to just like go hard with LES, obviously, working at Edgy's Educational Alliance, which is right on East Broadway.
Oh, don't you dare bring you gonna bring a tear to my eyes.
So they their identification or what they wanted to represent the LES wasn't what I wanted to represent. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I created my non-for-profit Learn, Educate, Succeed, Express. But I had to make it LES. You know what I mean? Because that's where I'm from, the LES.
Learn, Educate, Succeed,
Express.
LES
Express. You know what I'm saying? So that's my non-for-profit. But like Ed said, man, it was just, we were able to experience.
Y'all got jerseys?
Yeah, we got everything. You know what I mean?
We got everything, big. Everything. Show me the sweatshirt real quick. Brian, show me the sweatshirt real quick.
But the sweatshirt right there. You know what I mean?
Yes, baby.
Yes.
Like I used to throw the L. Yo, time out real quick. Jump off the subject. I gotta get a shout out to my boy Bobby, B.O.B. True Life.
B.O.B. True Life. Yep.
Rapper from Smith, from Lower East Side. That had basketball game. We was on the same team. He used to have socks to the knee before there was jelly. He used to do that finger roll shit. But Bobby had game, aka True Life rapper. Our Rock Nation.
You the only one to say that. I never heard that. Like in his interviews, and you just gave us an exclusive.
Nobody called him Bobby. You gotta know him to call him Bobby. That's a fact.
Yo, he's from LES, and let me tell you something. Yo, Mel, my cousin Mel C took care of all of us. Me, G, True Life, Bobby, whatever we took care of everybody, and everybody knew my aunt Minerva. BG would say that she was the one who opened one of the community centers and let everybody.
Hamilton Madison.
Volleyball, whatever you want, it didn't matter. Just go in there. Just go.
Flag football. Yep, he saved lives.
No, this right here, man. This episode was so filled with gems, man.
Appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, King. And I think for the most part, man, this is why we need to keep on building the way we build, man. There's so many, whether it be Jose, whether it be Hook, whether it be Dro, whether it be Marty Moore, the LES is so filled with so many dope people. And we said it before.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
True for Texas.
Yeah, he's killing it. And that's Alex's little brother. And Alex was nice with that was Jason Williams. That was White Chocolate. Yep. You know what I mean? So
same team with Brian. See, Brian, I remember that shit.
It's and that's the thing, man. Like, people don't understand the beauty that Lower East Side is. And we may sound biased, but the truth is that we haven't been explored. We have been explored, but we haven't been celebrated enough. Ralph Transvent comes from Smith houses. You know what I'm saying? So
we were too humble, Lower East Side. We didn't talk our shit. That's the problem.
Not at all. Not at all.
We never talk our shit. It's time for us to talk our shit in Lower East Side.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that's where we shine. That's where
my brother rides off the call, but like one thing I want to say, and that's why I ended with that last question for me personally. That's why that was my last question, because one of the most greatest things, y'all just helped articulate one of the most greatest things about the LES, which is why I'm seen as an asset in Hartford, in different places I go. It's because LES. I bring a way of looking at different people and uniting people that is just normal to us back home. And when I went into these other places, I was like, I never realized you had mad Asian people or Latino people or black people here, because where I'm from, y'all supposed to be intermingling. Right. So now any events I'm doing, y'all, we're not even like, I'm not even seeing what y'all used to seeing each other. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing that how we back at home. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of our greatest things, that we bring that everywhere we go, like that we're all human beings. And it's not about like ignore your differences and how we're in common. It's like you could talk about your differences and you common. Like, you don't have to front about anything. We all human. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I love that about us. And a lot of places like Connecticut, where we at now, where Ra's at, like, it's so much like LES, but they just, it's a little bit more segregated everywhere I go. So one thing that I think we take everywhere we go, regardless, is that ability to like see different people could work together. That's the best way I could put it.
And you know what? While we on, I'm gonna be real with you. While we on this episode right now, because of what it is, right? 4 boxes right now, all Lower East Side. You know, bred and born into. But I'm gonna challenge everybody from the Lower East Side. Like Ed said, a lot of times we were too humble. I'm gonna challenge everybody in the Lower East Side. If you're building and you from the Lower East Side, let's all build together. Let's all make it happen together so we can build that empire together. Because truth of the matter is, when you heard 6 borough, it was a 6 borough for a reason. We excluded ourselves from all the other boroughs based off of the fact that we knew who we were, the monsters and the beauty at the same time of who we were. But we always had that on our chest. So it doesn't matter Ave, Hill, Smith, it doesn't matter where you come from. The Lower East Side is a place of beautiful monsters. You know what I mean? So with that being said, facts. Let's all build together. And I challenge all of us to build together. And like I said, you know, with Brian being a part of 5-4 Press and Marty Moore, Ed, maybe you're, you know, getting into the other high school teams and bringing this to the table is like, yo, all our high school teams, let's get our basketball cards. Let's get this 5-4 Press open. You know what I mean? So let's build together, brothers. So
love.
Yo, no matter how somebody looks,
man.
Thank you for your time, brother. And whatever it needed.
Being entrepreneurs and innovators. Y'all changing the game. Check out the 5-4, check out the cards, you know what I mean? And we gonna keep y'all posted. Can we just tell y'all right now you coming back on a subsequent season? Could we put that out in the universe?
Let's do it.
Because this was like a small.
They definitely got to come back. Especially, these cards is going to be continuing. So we're going to not only be talking about these cards in the very, very near future. We're going to have to interview about the success of them and how it's growing. Oh, it's going down.
Yeah. And we gonna take it to a whole different level, man. And so you see it, man. When you see it, the branding, whatever the logo is on the brand or whatever it is. Understand also that the teams that come together, the minds that come together to build the empire that we all do is going to be Lower East Side, you know what I mean? And Rise from Connecticut. And it's not even about the different areas. It's about the unity and the minds that go into this. So truth of the matter is, we're going to build.
Connecticut, different places. It's just like how everybody knows Wu-Tang now. You know what I mean? This is how hip-hop was. Hip-hop was, they said it was a trend, and now it's the biggest thing. Shaolin wasn't. Shaolin was like Staten was just the one nobody shouted out in their raps. You know what I mean? Until Wu-Tang. So this is, I feel like, Elias, when we talking about it, we talking about Connecticut, any place in the world. Upstate New York now is popping up. Like, this is for any place in the world where you've been slept on. Yeah. Well, don't sleep on anybody. I
definitely appreciate you brothers coming on the podcast, man. Appreciate me and you brothers, man. Hearing your legacy stories, you know what I'm saying, and and you continuing your legacy is definitely important to hear and also see. And I thank you for bringing that here to the Sound Minds podcast.
Definitely, brothers. We appreciate your time, man. We love the fact that you was here. Again, 54press.com. Go get that. Go in there. Check what's going on. These episodes are only going to keep on building and getting better. And this is when you see guests that we have like this. BG, you know what I'm saying? Eddie Lau. We would have had Pupa and Kenny Anderson. So we're going to check on them, maybe bring them on. But either way, this right here this right here, this episode right here is much needed for us to understand.
Future fathers.
Yeah, he's losing himself right now. So this right here is to understand that right now the greatness that is built together is all going to come in unison. So with all that being said, man, not to hold you too much longer, man, we thank you for your time. Yes, whatever y'all need from us, from Sound Minds, we here. Salute.
Teachers.
Yes, sir.
Sound Minds.
Appreciate y'all. Sound Minds, man. Later.
Sound Minds.
Love y'all.
Sound Minds.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe.
Yeah. Yes, sir.